A 20-ton basalt slab on the coast of Northern Ireland suddenly swung open like a mechanical door, exposing a pitch-black chamber hidden inside a cliff face that geologists insisted was completely solid rock. Ground-penetrating radar immediately detected 7 massive upright entities sealed deep within the stone, radiating a constant internal temperature of 99 degrees Fahrenheit, alongside a slow, rhythmic pulse identical to a human heartbeat. This terrifying discovery triggered an immediate military lockdown and an absolute media blackout after researchers realized that one of the ancient figures had suddenly vanished from the locked room without leaving a single trace. Join us and let's discover ancient subterranean vaults discovered under famous landmarks that science cannot explain. Let's go.
Number 13. Great Pyramid of Giza. Cosmic ray muon radiography recently exposed a massive, previously unknown void measuring at least 100 feet long, sealed deep inside the stone heart of the monument. This colossal hidden chamber sits directly above the Grand Gallery, completely isolated from any known internal corridors or accessible passageways discovered over centuries of exploration. Scientists utilizing advanced particle physics detectors confirmed the empty space is large enough to swallow a commercial airline whole, yet it features no physical entry point or ventilation shaft connecting it to the outside world. Archaeologists remain completely baffled by its purpose because the immense stone blocks surrounding the void show zero signs of structural settling since their placement 4,000 years ago. Mainstream researchers claim the space was merely a weight relief mechanism designed to prevent the intense pressure of the upper pyramid from crushing the ceilings below. Independent engineers note that the chamber design deviates completely from standard patterns found anywhere else in Egypt. The extreme density variations suggest the interior walls might be coated in an unidentified material that actively deflects traditional radar signals. Authorities have strictly forbidden any physical drilling into the cavity, leaving the true contents of this massive stone tomb entirely dark. An ancient subterranean architectural pattern has just surfaced miles away under the rocky hillsides of rural Turkey.
Number 12. Derinkuyu Underground City. Deep beneath the soft volcanic ash rock of Cappadocia lies an utterly staggering 18-story underground metropolis, capable of sheltering over 20,000 people completely cut off from the surface world. This labyrinthine ancient fortress descends nearly 300 feet into the earth, featuring an incredibly complex network of living quarters, stables, churches, and ventilation shafts designed for long-term survival. Massive round stone doors weighing up to 1,000 pounds could be rolled shut from the inside to seal off entire levels, creating an impenetrable underground maze against surface invaders. While tourists are permitted to explore the upper levels of this engineering marvel, local authorities have permanently barred access to the deepest vertical shafts and lowest flooded tunnels. Independent cave divers who snuck into these forbidden subterranean depths reported seeing highly unusual geometric carvings on the walls that do not match any known Byzantine or Hittite artistic styles. Ground-penetrating radar scans conducted before the lower zones were locked away revealed a series of massive parallel chambers extending even deeper into the bedrock. These colossal sub-basements exhibit completely smooth finishes that seem impossible to achieve with primitive bronze chisels or iron tools. Modern scholars still argue over who originally carved this entire mountain from the inside out, completely blind to the fact that an acoustically active subterranean vault was constructed under a Mediterranean island nearby.
Only 1% of people know the dark truth behind what we are about to show you next. If you want to be part of the few who actually know what's happening in the world, subscribe and leave a like right now. Done? Look at this.
Number 11. How Suflieni Hypogeum.
Acoustic testing inside a 5,000-year-old subterranean rock-cut temple in Malta revealed a terrifying property known as the Oracle Room anomaly. Sounds produced at a specific frequency of 110 Hz resonate so violently throughout the solid stone chambers that they mimic the deep, vibrating rumble of a massive jet engine starting up inside your chest. This precise acoustic resonance acts directly on the human brain, completely altering the listener's emotional state and inducing intense feelings of dread or spiritual disorientation. Archaeologists excavating the lowest of the 3 subterranean levels uncovered the shattered remains of over 7,000 human skeletons piled into specialized burial pits. Many of these ancient skulls exhibited highly unusual elongated shapes, missing cranial sutures, and structural deformations that completely baffled biological anthropologists. Shortly after these strange skeletal remains were catalogued, they were completely removed from public display and locked away in high-security government archives. Visitors are now strictly restricted to brief tours of the upper chambers under constant supervision, while the lower levels remain entirely closed to independent research. Acoustic engineers believe the entire underground complex was meticulously carved out of solid limestone to act as an amplifier for underground vibrations. The mysterious builders who tuned this temple to human brainwaves disappeared without a trace, leaving behind an engineered subterranean puzzle that echoes across the deep ocean under massive Mexican pyramids.
Number 10. Teotihuacan. Deep beneath the towering pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, a remote-controlled robotic rover squeezed through a sealed tunnel to discover a literal river of liquid mercury. This toxic glowing substance was intentionally pooled inside a highly elaborate subterranean chamber carved directly into the bedrock underneath the ancient city. Archaeologists believe the shimmering liquid metal was designed to represent a glittering underworld river, yet the sheer volume required implies an industrial-scale extraction process that remains entirely unexplained. The walls of the underground tunnel were completely coated in a glittering powder made of pyrite, reflecting any torchlight like a star-filled night sky deep within the earth. Radar scans of the surrounding soil revealed that this toxic river leads directly towards several walled-off chambers located beneath the center of the pyramid structure. Mexican authorities abruptly halted further robotic exploration inside these toxic zones, citing safety concerns over the high concentration of lethal mercury vapors. Independent researchers suggest the liquid metal was utilized as a primitive electromagnetic shield or primitive energy conductor rather than a purely symbolic display. Military guards now secure the perimeter of this excavation site, ensuring that no independent cameras or non-government personnel can witness what lies beyond the terminal chamber, a standard operating procedure that matches a massive underground labyrinth in Africa.
Number 9. Puma Punku. Subsurface radar imaging conducted around the megalithic stone platforms of Bolivia exposed a massive network of hidden underground cavities carved directly into the granite bedrock. These subterranean voids run directly beneath the famous H-shaped blocks, precision engineered to tolerances of less than a millimeter using unknown technology. The largest of these underground anomalies is a massive rectangular room located exactly 15 feet beneath the primary stone plaza, exhibiting no detectable physical pathways or staircases leading down to it from the surface ruins. Mainstream archaeologists claim these subterranean spaces are merely ancient drainage channels or primitive foundations designed to stabilize the massive weight of the structures above. However, structural engineers point out that the completely enclosed chambers lack any drainage outlets, meaning water would simply pool inside and erode the foundations over time. This design suggests the cavities were intended to isolate or protect specific items from surface conditions, rather than handle environmental runoff. Local indigenous legends have long maintained that an entire subterranean city exists beneath the high-altitude plains, constructed by an ancient race of giants before a cataclysmic global flood destroyed all early human civilizations. This persistent belief in a hidden global underground network is shared by researchers on the other side of the planet, where a massive stone labyrinth remains completely buried under Egyptian sand.
Number 8. Hawara Labyrinth. Satellite radar mapping and ground scanning teams in Egypt confirmed the existence of a colossal multi-level stone labyrinth buried completely beneath the scorching hot desert sands near the Hawara Pyramid. This legendary underground complex, described by ancient historians as eclipsing even the pyramids in scale, contains over 3,000 individual chambers filled with intricate hieroglyphs and mysterious shrines. The subterranean maze is split evenly between upper rooms and completely dark underground levels that have remained entirely unexposed to sunlight for millennia. Archaeological authorities have continuously delayed any large-scale excavations of this buried wonder, citing high groundwater levels and structural collapse risks as the official reasons for containment. Independent researchers note that the absolute refusal to open these historic vaults prevents the public from seeing architectural styles that completely contradict standard dynastic Egyptian timelines. The hidden lower levels are rumored to contain ancient records and physical artifacts belonging to pre-dynastic rulers who possessed highly advanced technological capabilities. This enforced isolation of massive underground complexes ensures that the true timeline of ancient civilizations remains completely obscured from the mainstream public view. While authorities keep this massive African labyrinth tightly sealed, a completely different type of architectural mystery has been discovered hidden under the waves of the vast Pacific Ocean.
Number 7. Yonaguni Monument. Marine geologists exploring the submerged monolithic structures off the coast of Japan discovered a series of massive internal vaults hidden deep within the rock formation. This subaquatic site features giant stepped terraces. Mainstream scientists insist the entire structure is a purely natural formation created by tectonic activity and wave erosion over many thousands of years. However, marine engineers point out that wave action cannot create identical parallel right angles or cylindrical shafts leading into enclosed subterranean chambers. The sudden cessation of funding for government-sponsored diving expeditions has fueled theories that researchers found something highly anomalous inside those deep aquatic vaults. The extreme difficulty of conducting deep-water excavations ensures that the true nature of these submerged chambers remains hidden from the scientific community. This systematic pattern of ignoring or suppressing highly anomalous maritime discoveries keeps the public entirely unaware of pre-Ice Age human engineering. This complete refusal to look beneath the surface of ancient stone monoliths is mirrored in the high deserts of Peru, right where the soil itself hides immense hollow cavities.
Number 6. Nazca Lines. Subterranean resistivity scans conducted underneath the desert geoglyphs of Peru revealed a series of massive, unaccounted-for hollow cavities directly intersecting the ancient line carvings. These underground anomalies sit up to 40 feet beneath the dry desert ground, forming a geometric layout that mirrors the patterns etched onto the surface above. The largest cavity sits directly beneath the hummingbird geoglyph, displaying flat ceilings and perfectly vertical walls carved out of compacted gravel and sand layers. Archaeologists publicly maintain that these underground spaces are natural geological faults, or ancient aqueduct storage chambers, meant to capture rare mountain runoff. However, local geophysicists note that the perfectly symmetrical layout of the cavities matches the surface artwork with mathematical precision, completely ruling out natural formation. The state strictly prohibits any physical excavation or drilling within the boundaries of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, leaving these deep desert voids completely uninvestigated. This total restriction ensures that any potential connection between the surface glyphs and the hidden vaults remains completely sealed from global scrutiny. The complete suppression of subsurface anomalies under globally recognized landmarks keeps humanity blind to the true purpose of ancient engineering. This pattern of sealing off massive subterranean chambers is echoed in the remote mountains of China, where enormous artificial caverns defy explanation.
Number 5. Longyu Caves. Discovery of 24 massive, hand-carved sandstone caverns in rural China shocked the engineering world due to the absolute lack of historical records regarding their construction. These colossal underground chambers descend up to 100 feet into the earth, featuring completely uniform chiseled lines covering every square inch of the interior walls and pillars. The sheer volume of stone excavated during their creation is estimated to exceed 1 million cubic meters, a monumental project that would have required a massive labor force working continuously for decades. Mainstream historians assume these grand subterranean halls were carved during the Western Han Dynasty as simple stone quarries or underground military barracks for imperial soldiers. However, structural analysis revealed that the chiseled markings are cut at precise parallel 60-degree angles, a feature that serves absolutely no purpose for basic stone extraction. Furthermore, despite being flooded with water for over 2 millennia, the interior chambers exhibit zero signs of environmental erosion or structural decay, indicating an advanced understanding of rock mechanics. Local officials completely sealed off most caverns from the public, keeping independent researchers from analyzing the anomalous chisel marks. This strict containment ensures that the true origin of these prehistoric underground spaces remains a deep mystery, a pattern of secrecy that matches active geological anomalies found beneath the peak of Mount Shasta.
Number 4. Mount Shasta. Military radar mapping operations conducted around the volcanic peak of Northern California exposed a series of colossal, interconnected voids deep inside the mountain. These subterranean cavities sit thousands of feet below the surface snowfields, displaying an anomalous structural arrangement that completely contradicts standard volcanic geology models. The largest of these underground cavities is a massive vertical chamber extending straight down into the roots of the peak, exhibiting perfectly smooth, non-porous stone walls that actively deflect standard seismic testing signals. Mainstream geologists publicly state that these deep cavities are merely ancient collapsed lava tubes or harmless thermal venting pockets formed during prehistoric volcanic eruptions. However, independent geophysicists note that the sheer volume and geometric precision of the voids cannot be explained by natural cooling processes, suggesting an artificial origin. The government has strictly restricted access to several remote wilderness zones around the peak, citing environmental protection and public safety as the official justifications. This total enforcement of secrecy prevents independent exploration teams from investigating the strange electromagnetic anomalies emitting from deep within the mountain core. This continuous effort to suppress information about highly anomalous underground spaces keeps the public entirely blind to what is happening beneath our feet. While authorities maintain absolute control over these deep mountain voids, a far more terrifying subterranean vault has just opened entirely on the barren, rocky shores of Northern Ireland.
Number 3. Giant's Causeway Basalt Door. Drone footage captured on a clear autumn evening recorded a 20-ton basalt slab suddenly parting from a cliff face along the Northern Ireland shoreline. This massive block, catalogued as solid rock for a century, opened mechanically like a hinged door to reveal absolute darkness. 11 seconds later, the heavy slab swung shut with precision, closing so perfectly that no crack, seam, or visible fissure remained on the exterior cliff face. Geologist Dr. Sarah Brennan arrived the following morning with a ground-penetrating radar unit to scan the exact coordinates where the stone had detached. The raw sonar data displaying on her screen instantly exposed a massive hollow chamber measuring 10 feet deep and 23 feet wide hidden within the solid basalt cliff. But the most alarming part of the scan was the presence of 7 tall, upright figures standing in a flawless military formation, directly facing the hidden exit. Mainstream geology dictates that basalt forms exclusively from rapidly cooling liquid lava at temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning nothing organic or synthetic could survive being sealed inside. These entities were permanently trapped within the rock long before dinosaurs went extinct, indicating an intelligence existed on Earth tens of millions of years before humans. The shock of this discovery forced researchers to dig deeper into the physical status of these trapped anomalies.
Geophysical scans brought in by a specialized team revealed that the 7 figures were actually thin, hollow shells reminiscent of biological pods. Thermal imaging specialist Dr. Neve Callahan pointed her equipment at the frozen cliff face in winter, expecting to read the ambient 4 degrees Celsius rock temperature. Instead, the display screen turned bright red as the sensors recorded a stable, roaring internal temperature of 99 degrees Fahrenheit coming from the hollow entities. This is the exact core temperature of a healthy, living human body, a thermodynamic impossibility for objects trapped inside millions of years of solid rock. Heat naturally radiates outward and dissipates within days, meaning these pods are actively, autonomously generating their own thermal energy from within. Furthermore, seismic vibration sensors placed along the basalt wall began tracking a steady, rhythmic pulse, repeating precisely every 4 seconds. This low-frequency vibration was completely indistinguishable from a slow, sleeping heartbeat, accompanied by anomalous thermal spikes that fluctuated independently of tides or weather. Government officials quietly arrived within 48 hours, erecting heavy steel barriers and issuing a false press release claiming the drone footage was a mere lens reflection on wet rock. Researchers were threatened with immediate career termination if they spoke out, but the true nightmare occurred just before the team was forcefully evicted from the shoreline.
Number 1. Giant's Causeway, missing entity. Final comparative radar scans conducted 4 days after the discovery caused the entire research team to freeze in absolute terror. One of the 7 ancient figures had completely vanished from the sealed underground chamber, leaving behind 6 empty pods inside the solid basalt cliff face. Continuous motion sensor cameras pointed at the stone door recorded 0 movement or structural shifting during those 96 hours. The entity did not break through the stone, did not open the outer door, and left absolutely no dust, debris, or structural damage inside the airtight room. Even more terrifying, the remaining 6 figures had broken their rigid military formation and were actively crawling through the darkness toward the basalt exit. Serial scans tracked them shifting several inches every 72 hours, their internal core temperatures climbing past 100 degrees as their heartbeats grew faster and louder. This rapid escalation indicates that the ancient occupants are actively awakening from a 60 million year hibernation cycle, preparing to exit into our modern world. Mainstream government agencies have completely scrubbed the data, but the encrypted files survive on local hard drives, while heavily armed guards patrol the restricted coastline. 6 biological pods are currently pressing against a stone door that opened once before, while the 7th entity remains completely unaccounted for, walking among an oblivious human population. The first one is outside.
If you thought this was terrifying, you are not ready for what they found in the video on your screen. Click it right now. The truth is worse than you think.